Oh, this is so cool. How you doing, Frank?
I'm doing well. How are you, Bobby?
I'm good. I'm good. My friend Roger said that I needed to talk to you because that you could help me get prepared for the film that I'm doing and the book that I'm doing. He said you're a go-to guy. He says you're a great writer. You are a great director. You're a great everything. He said. So,
Well, thanks.
What
Sure.
what tips do you got for doing a film and writing a book?
Well, which do you want? Which tip do you want first?
Whatever. You go with the flow. I'll let you be in charge.
Well, I don't know. There's so many tips. Just keep it one step at a time. It's just like life, one step at a time. So with film, you figure out what you're going to do and you plan it step by step. And then first you need to get your script.
Well, it's a documentary, so we're a little safe there. They just have to
film so you're just following along what happens.
Yeah, so the script part that's where we're kind of saved a little bit of problem there. We don't have to worry about that.
You have your attitude and what your view of the world is pretty much set up in terms of the documentary.
Yep. It's the story of me going from no bear to bearfluencer.
That's an amazing story. It's such a huge leap.
Yeah, and then I try to do there's a couple talking bears, so I try to help those people out and send that.
Good. Extend your paw.
Yeah, and I'm doing a honey talk in Vegas, a big honey talk, which is like a TED talk except not boring.
Right. Well, that's a good idea.
Yeah,
to not be boring.
Yeah,
and also to be different than TED Talks. Yeah, and once you have that going, then you're going to be in the middle of editing it and looking at it and talking to different people. Yep. And I think also you follow the lead that the people you're dealing with there. There's a lot of honey in Vegas.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, well, it's don't get too swept up in all the honey.
I got in a little trouble in the beginning when I got my first paycheck. I blew it all on honey, and I went to a honey out.
Oh, well, they shouldn't do that. No.
I know. And then Roger made me talk to a therapist. But everything.
Good.
I've got it under control. I only drink honey on days that end in Y.
But it's one day at a time.
Yeah, I only drink honey on days that end in a Y.
Okay, that's.
I think I got
a small step. It's a small step.
I think I've got it under control. So you wrote a book. So tell me about your book. I want to hear about your book.
My book is for 8 years. I wrote about my life as an ADHD adult who's also ADHD parent of two ADHD.
What's ADHD? Remember, I'm a bear.
Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder.
Really?
And it's a condition is all it is. It's how your brain is wired. And I got diagnosed when I was 50. And that's late. But I got it diagnosed because my son was diagnosed, and I noticed behaviors that were similar.
Oh, wow. And, so you didn't know you had that till you were 50?
Yeah. Well, I knew something was going on. I knew something was going on when I was a kid. I always knew there was something going on. But you don't. It was never It was never seen as anything separate. It was just like your behavior was different. My ability with words is different. It affected how I write and everything else. So I decided to write while I was discovering this, and I got diagnosed, and then I got sober, which was another huge thing that's in the book. And I wrote a one-man show and did that about being a drunk in Hollywood with ADHD and being saved by being in love.
Wow.
And that's a great story. Yeah, and so from there I started writing these articles, but they weren't articles; they were stories about my life with my kids and my wife and my in the world. And I wrote them a lot of them over 8 years as we were
Wow.
going through a lot of very difficult things, including the death of my father and
Ooh,
a lot of things. So
heavy
I
stuff.
wrote about this stuff, and they're funny, and I wrote them. They went out. They were published in Attitude magazine, which is it's a magazine about ADHD.
Is it called, what's it, Attitude or Attitude?
Yeah, ADDITUDE.
Okay,
And,
cool. Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, I took that 8 years of work, and because my wife Margaret really encouraged me to do this, and I went and reformed them all and put them into a book that's pretty, thick. It's
What's the book called?
It's called This is the book. See?
Oh, there you go.
There you go.
Oh, it's got a chicken on the cover.
Yeah, because it's called a chicken in the wind and how we grew. Stories from an ADHD dad.
And it's got little. It looks like you won some prizes.
Oh yeah, we got the Indie Reader Discovery Award, the Indie Book Award, the Living Now Books Award, the Human Relations Indie Book Award. I don't know, a bunch. But
so
the thing is,
other than everybody watching this video, who should buy the book?
Anybody who likes a story about human beings. It's just an honest, funny story about if you're a parent,
right,
or somebody who is a parent of ADHD kids, or you're just an ADHD adult, or you know somebody.
Gotcha.
But it's also it's about living with mental. It's a mental health memoir. It's about mental health is so important, and it's not dealt with much.
No,
and
exactly. I noticed this with the humans that I talk to. Some of them, they get really stuck in their head, and they don't know when to stop.
Yeah. Do you find it in bears too?
No. See, our lives are pretty simple. We get up, we eat some food, we get some honey, and then we go to bed, and then we hibernate, for a couple months in the winter. We start all over.
Oh, that's right.
So it's not.
That must help you get things straightened out in your head.
Well, yeah, you can't even. It's like every time I talk to women, sometimes they'll say, "Are you in a relationship?" And I'll say, "I'm in an open bear relationship," because what happens is you date people, right? You're dating them, and then you go to sleep for 4 months. And you wake up, you forget who you were dating because the hibernation kind of works that way.
Oh, so good. So it starts all over.
Yeah, it's why I can't keep a job. They hire you for a job, and then you say, "Oh, it's time for me to hibernate. I got to be gone for 4 months."
Oh, well, that is a problem.
Yeah. HR doesn't like that.
No, because you can't say, "Where were you?" You say, "I'm not really sure. I was asleep."
That's right. So what's one of your favorite stories in the book?
One of my favorite stories, I would have to say, is one called it's called the Kid by the Coke Machine.
Okay, can you tell us the story?
I can sort of.
I'm all ears. I'm all ears.
Oh, you are all ears. Look at those big ears.
Big ears. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's about a trip. It was a part of a trip we took. My whole family was in our minivan. We had a flat on the freeway coming back from Delaware. We were in North Carolina, and we couldn't get the flat fixed, but we finally got a temp on there, and so we followed a guy who helped us to a little town on a Sunday, way out in the sticks, where there was the only thing that was open was this tire repair store. And during the time we were sitting there was a young kid who was standing up and acting strangely and looking at everybody individually, one after the other. Right. And I was kind of put off and worried by his behavior, but my daughter engaged with him. And I learned from her in that moment. But the story is really about the people you meet on the road and how they're different than you think, and your anxiety about people. The way you see people from the cover first. You see the cover, you don't see the inside. Right. And I, even with all my years of being a working in truck stops and everything else in my life.
Uh-huh.
I still have that habit, especially around my family. I'm very protective. But my daughter broke through, and I learned, and it's about learning from your kids.
Oh,
and
that's good.
A lot of the stories are.
I think you can learn more from kids than you can from adults, to be honest with you.
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely. Because there's more. There's more openness. There's more curiosity, honest curiosity. And
so when you were
that's what it's about. And
when you were talking about ADHD or ADD and all that stuff, what are some of the symptoms?
Well, one is it's hard to focus. It's hard to get out. And when you are focused, you can't break away easily. If somebody says, what are you doing? And you go, I just leave me alone.
Gotcha.
Because if you're focused, you've got it. And it really isn't it's hard to focus. You can focus like a son of a gun,
right?
But you can't. Wait a second. Let me turn this off.
That's okay.
That you have trouble. You have trouble breaking away from that stuff. You can't organize your thoughts normally. You tend to go follow things like this. You don't live in a literal linear life. You live in more of an open life, which is really good for creativity.
Right.
It's not so good in doing tasks.
Yeah.
So also you're prone to anxiety and stuff because you never can tell when you're going to get overwhelmed. You're often overwhelmed. And because there's so much coming at you all the time.
Right.
It's like over and over again. It's like a tidal wave of things. When you wake up in the morning, you can hardly decide what's what.
Gotcha.
There's no filter. You have no filter. Now bears have filter. Don't you? Have.
Well, yeah. I mean, look, when I talk to humans and they tell me about their problems, I'm like, I don't understand that. I'm a bear. My life is simple. It's simple. I don't get it.
My dog says the same thing.
I bet.
He's like, I want to go outside. I want to come inside.
Dogs are smart.
They are smart.
They are nice to you as long as you feed them.
That's right.
If you want to find out the real emotion of a dog, don't feed them for 3 days. And you'll see, oh, crap, I got to go. It was really great talking to you. Thanks for the tips.